All right, welcome back. In this video, we're going to discuss what is user research. And what I mentioned before in the previous video is that user research is going to infiltrate every component of user experience. And so there's a few videos in this section that we'll explore, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about user research, but there's some videos here that we're going to take a look at here. And so the first one here is a video that kind of dives into what is user research. And so go ahead and pause this video, and this is going to basically acclimate us to the concept of user research. But like I said, UX, I would say about 80% of what a UX developer or engineer is doing is research. Other than they may have some other responsibilities such as coding, but more of their job is going to be the research of the end user. So pause this video, watch this video, and then we'll continue on. All right, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of context on user research and the different phases of when you will want to conduct certain research. Here is some of the main, not main, I wouldn't say, but some of the different research methods that you can perform when you're doing UX work. There's observations where you give people a task and you watch them. There's interviews where you ask them a series of questions, task analysis, and there's focus groups where you get a group of people in and you ask them questions around their beliefs, their desires, and their reactions to concepts. And then there's surveys that you could continually do beyond the initial launch of the site, but even during the launch of the site, you can continually get information back from the end user of those people who are using your website. Here's kind of a breakdown of some of the different research methods. So on the left here where my mouse is hovering, these are different research methods. And then on the right here, it'll show you kind of when you might want to use those research methods. So during the discovery phase, you may want to do some field studies, some user interview, diary studies. When you're exploring, we're going to do some clickable prototyping, some paper prototype testing, card sorting. And you'll see that we're going to actually talk about card sorting when you want to basically figure out what is the navigation of our site or what is the information architecture. There's the test, and then there's the listen phase. Here's another video that dives into some of what you see here in terms of when you would use some of these different research methods. And let me say this here, this class is not necessarily a user experience class. You could spend probably a whole semester in focusing on focus groups. You could spend probably a whole program, and there are some programs that are 2-year programs, master level programs that focus on user experience. And so we don't do it justice here to talk about user experience, but I do want to just acclimate you to what are some of the things that you may encounter before you actually begin to code your website. What are some of the things that we want to consider? And if you do decide to pursue this in the future, these are some of the things that have been done prior to the coding of the application. So watch this video here. This was on a little bit on the longer side here, but it's basically when do you choose the right research method and when, right? And when do you conduct that research method? So that's what this video is going to fill you in. So pause this video and take a look at this video here that my mouse is hovering over. All right, so hopefully you got some insightful information about when you would use some of these user research methods. Like I said, we don't do it justice to kind of talk about it within one video or 2 videos here. Just know that there are people who have whole programs that focus on maybe just one research method, right? But nonetheless, I wanted to kind of give exposure to some of the different methods and when they will be, when it's the best time to use that research method. In the next video, we're going to talk about some of the different components of user experience and then some of the research that may go into those various components. So the next component that we'll focus on in our next video is going to be information architecture. But then when we're crafting the navigation or the information architecture of our content, right, what are some of the research methods that we can use to get some better insight on in terms of what would be the best structure of our content for the end user? So we'll focus on that. There's a few videos that we'll watch for that. And then we're going to talk about this idea of user personas, and we'll get into usability. So stay tuned for the next video. We'll get into talking about what is information architecture.